Welcome to the Blind Zone, where curiosity brings results. And so today I have a really fun person on board with me, and I've known her since 2010. And her name is Stephanie. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get to our topic to today, where my curiosity is taking me to the rodeo. So welcome, Stephanie. And
Thank you
how are
for
you
having
today?
me.
So you want to tell me a little bit about yourself before we get started?
I am a mother of four boys, three stepsons and one. My son, Riley, um, he is a senior this year. I'm a special ed teacher at fifth grade for fifth graders. Um, this is my 22nd year at DeKalb County Schools. And so I met Denise a couple or into 2010, where she taught me how to read Braille and encouraged me to further my skills. And that led me to go into getting my degree thanks to Miss Denise.
Yes, and that was a wild 4 years, boy. I learned a lot. So, but today we're going to be talking about your love of the rodeo because this has been
Yes.
something that you had always been very fond of. So, what got you started in with the rodeo world?
I guess in 1997, I went to the livestock show, which is like a national livestock show in Louisville, Kentucky. And we were walking around and we stopped at this one booth to look at a trailer hitch. And there was a professional bull rider there. And he invited us, or well, we were talking and he invited us to come to see him. And he gave us free tickets. So we went, and that was the start of my love of PBRs. Of course, I was young, so cowboys. As a girl, teenage or young girl lady, and then it was just the excitement. It was a very family oriented. He was down to earth. We followed him like through the circuit and watched, on Saturdays on TV. Um, and then we went to Las Vegas, and that was a experience to see the world finals. And I followed about I had six favorite bull riders, and then my husband and I got married, and we had Raleigh. And at age 3, we took him to his first rodeo, and he just fell in love with it. He wanted a horse. We got a horse. A local rodeo came in, and they had mutton busted. And so he's like, I can ride that. And we went to the local rodeo, which was for just youth only. And we got involved, and he started doing the mutton busting. Tried calf roping, but this mama's heart could not handle that. Um, so I was thankful that he did not want to be a bull rider, but at 3 years old, he was going to go to Colorado. That's how he'd say it, and get him a bull. And he had a little bouncing ball that, you bounce on and around the room. And that was his blue. And he would practice bull riding, and then just riding his horses and everything. We got very involved in the Middle Tennessee Junior Rodeo Association. We were the secretary and treasurer of that for 5 years. And we just got involved in that. And then he got into the National Little Britches, which is all um, across the 50 states. Um, However, this year he has quit rodeo, and this year Girlfriends and Trucks has took his new interest. However, he does still rodeo a little bit, and we do go now. Our granddaughter is into rodeo, and so um, it will continue.
Well, because I know that when I lived in Tennessee, David and I had came to one of the rodeos that Riley was going to be involved in, and it didn't go as smooth for him that night because he decided he didn't want to do that. And then your husband talked him into it, and so he was on again, off again. But again, he was a lot younger. So
Yes.
yeah. And so, what is your favorite aspect of the rodeo? What one thing, if you had to say one thing that you like most about it? Well, for one thing I like about it is the family atmosphere. They want to include everybody. But if you had to say one thing about a rodeo that you would say that's exactly what I really like about it, what would it be?
It's the family atmosphere that your whole family comes. It's a family affair. Um, Last weekend was rodeo finals, and Riley and his girlfriend and Eva Kate and all of her family and grandparents and everybody was there with us. And you can go to any trailer and you will see not just the immediate mom and dad there. You will see grandparents there, aunts and uncles, friends and family.
Hmm.
And then you also make that bond. One thing you do see that you don't see anywhere else, these cowgirls and cowboys, they don't meet a stranger, and it's not just all about them. They cheer on everybody else. And if you're like, one time our horse went down and someone offered us a horse. If that would have been any other sport, they wouldn't offer you to use, a batter, whatever,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
they don't want you to use their stuff. But you can go anywhere and you let people ride your horse, or you're willing to help. If you um, we have a Facebook page, and going out to Oklahoma where the finals are, people are like, I'm on the side of the road, and people was willing to stop and either give them a tire, or haul their horses on in or whatever. It's just a very family. And so those connections, and I still have friends that we've met, 13 years ago, and we're still best friends. So it's
Well,
that family.
oh, because that is really good because relationships are really important. And I don't remember a whole lot. So, what happens at a rodeo? What kind of events take place? Now, you mentioned mutton busting. I have to believe that's something to do with the sheep.
Yes. So when you get there, they have an open ceremony. So all the cowgirls and cowboys get to ride the horses, around the arena, and everybody yells. The one thing I really like about it, rodeo, is also they say the prayer. Not very many sports, say a prayer now, but we still pray, and we still have cowboy church on Sunday if it's a 2-day rodeo. And so I really still like that. And the youth is involved, everybody's involved. And so then you go down to your events. You have mutton busting, you have calf riding, you have steer riding, you have bull riding, depending on ages. And you can start running as age of 3 or under. Actually, there's actually one that's 2 running right now. And you go to your age 18. You age out at 18, and then after 18 you join like the professional pro rodeo association. And so then you have barrel racing, pole bending, team roping, steer stopping, steer wrestling, and breakaway. And I'm trying to think of what else.
So,
That's it.
but you could pick from a variety of things, like you said, Riley didn't, he wanted to do this, but not that, and that's okay. You're not expected to be proficient at all of those. So you pick whatever, like the roping and stuff like that, because that's more
Yes.
of a learning a finesse thing, and taking your horse through the barrels and stuff like that. That's another learned skill. I mean, you wouldn't
Yes.
have to know all of them.
No, so like when Riley started, and even Kate, he is roping. He started out roping and mutton busting, and just riding doing the poles and the barrels. And then once he got older, once you turn, I think age 11 for boys, or age 12, you cannot be doing poles or barrels, because that's a girl's sport in rodeos.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
so once you get to that age, you must pick either bull riding, um, team roping, steer wrestling, or something like that. Um, but
Okay.
as
So
far as the girls, they can rope too. But there's certain sports that are girls do not ride bulls though. They can mutton bust, but once they get out of mutton base age of 7, you can't participate in that sport. And
okay.
in mutton busting.
So what is the tandem, the 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 roping? You said team
The team
roping.
roping.
Yeah. What's that?
That's where you have a header and a heeler, and Riley was the heeler, and his header would catch the calf, throw the rope onto the calf, and then Riley would come behind and get the feet, and then they would turn their horses together, facing each other, kind of facing each other, so the calf is not hurt. And then
Oh,
once you get it, and then it's, you pull the rope off, let the slack out, and then you let the calf gets up, and you run the calf back to the chutes.
okay. So that, see, again, this is really finesse stuff where you're really, because the teamwork in that, you would have to know the person that's going to be doing one part or the other, and you have to trust them. And so, how long do you
Yes.
think it takes to learn how to do roping? Because that seems like a whole skill set all of its own.
You actually start when Riley started when he was about 5, just roping. And so you really have to, in team roping, you have to practice. You have to practice swinging that rope just for yourself, but you also need to have that partnership with your team partner so that you can practice, just not on rodeo day. Although there are plenty of teams that do that, but really great teams practice,
Hmm.
weekly or whatever,
Hmm.
for hours, of practicing and getting that. Because you have to know when they throw it, you have to be right there, and your horse has to be kind of right behind them, but not too close.
Well, but for all the years that I was there for the Smithville Jamboree, you could tell the people who had practiced all those instruments, and they were the ones that really did well. So I would have to believe that that's the same kind of thing in rodeo. You just can't be, I'll come in on a Saturday and we'll do this, and so you have to really want that
Yes. You have to
because,
practice and
hmm huh. So is there a monetary benefit to winning any of this stuff?
yes. So if you win your events, you get different associations give you 25% to different prizes up. And then so you get points. And then at the end of the year, you get most of them will give you a jacket or a sweatshirt or whatever, like most time it's a jacket. And then if you place in the top 5, um, you can get, belt buckles and different things like that. Um, but if you're the all around cowgirl or cowboy, you can win a saddle. So that's the big thing. You get a belt buckle and a um, saddle.
Well,
That's like
because
the
I'm
big
sure.
prize.
Okay, because I'm sure they want you to continue in this. So they don't want you to do this for a couple of years and then because I'm sure now that Riley's not that interested, but they want those kids to have done so well on this that they want to move on and up to other things.
Yes.
And getting a sweatshirt or something, is okay, but going for the big prize. And so I have to believe that there's a lot of associations out there and that there's a lot of them, but they all funnel into a bigger pot so that you have the competition, but that you get a reward if you stick with it.
Just like basketball or any of the sports in high school, they do have recruiters that come out, and there are rodeo teams. So you can go into the college, like going into the rodeo teams at the college. And we have several friends that have graduated from UT Martin and that has did well on the college circuit. Then we have some that's just went straight into pro rodeo. That is, at the American, which is a big rodeo big rodeo in Texas. Um, so there is a lot that you can, and there's jackpots and all kinds of things that will give you several. We have a friend that bull rides, and he won the other night. He wanted a guitar, I guess, and like $5,000 just for winning.
Well,
So
because when you said that there were people who go to college on a scholarship, I was surprised at that. But I've learned so many things today that I didn't know before. Because again, I always thought, now I did when I lived up in Michigan, I did go to a rodeo once, and I got to tell you, it wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I appreciated all the hard work that went into what they were doing. You could tell that they just didn't wake up and say, it's like, I'm gonna go run a marathon. There was a lot of practice involved and a lot of skill set. And in fact, those animals aren't, cheap to keep either. So, you've invested quite a bit of time. And I think that happens too is that you're building in family independence and skill sets and just making yourself learn more about who you are and what it is you can and cannot accomplish.
Yes, I totally agree.
Huh.
Um,
Did you
Raleigh
want to?
has, it just teaches him responsibility that, he had to ride his horse. He had to take care of his horse. Um, he's actually writing a paper right now for college, about rodeos. Because there is people who view that, the rodeos are, um, the welfare of them. Let me assure you that those horses and bulls and sheep and calves, there is rules and regulations that we had to follow as association, and that those, you're looking at a PBR bull costing millions of dollars, and to buy a barrel horse, a good horse for your kid that you want to put your kid on, you just don't want to go to the sale barn and buy a wild horse and put your child on it, because you have to train those, horses, and so you're looking at 20,000 plus, depending on what kind of horse it
Mhm,
is. If they can do barrels, poles, that's a plus. If they're the best head or heel or horse, I mean, so not cheap by any means. So you create those, that horse comes like your family also, or your animals that you deal with. And so the stock contractors, we've have friends that are stock contractors also, and those sheep and cows probably have the best life than, our cows that sit in our backyard, on our farm.
mhm,
So
mhm,
they
mhm,
are
mhm.
very well taken care of.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure there'd be organizations that, it's like at SeaWorld when they were watching the abuse of the whales and stuff. Somebody stepped in and it's not in their best interest not to have the best sheep and calves available because,
Right.
because other people would just pick up the slack and show them that there was another way to do it. So, huh. Well, this has been super interesting. Is there anything else you want to add? Now you've been doing this, since '97, so it's a lot of years. Now that Riley's not into this anymore, what does that mean for you?
With EVK Rodeo, and we'll still be involved with that. Um, Taking her, and we keep Chickalinda, which is her pony here, and practice with her. So we'll just continue to do that. And my love still for PBR. We still go occasionally to the PBR events. Um, we haven't went. I guess the last one was COVID. Went before COVID hit. We went to the one there, but we still watch from time to time on PBR. Of course, all my cowboys that I was in love with has retired since then, but um, it's still fun to go and see. And when the local rodeo comes here for the fair, we go to it as a family. And Riley still is involved with Evie Kate. He's the runner for lead line with her. So he's still involved, and I think eventually he will get back into roping, or doing something like that as a free time of just a pastime.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Well, again, this has been super fabulous, and I that's why my curious side poked out, and I saw on Facebook you had mentioned a couple things about rodeo, and I thought, well, I'd like to know more about that. So I reached out, and here we are, and so I'm super excited about this. So thanks for coming on and joining us on the Blind Zone today, talking about rodeo. So
Thank you.
we'll talk soon, and
Okay.
thanks for joining me on the Blind Zone. We'll see you next week.